In a small compound at the edge of the city lived two quiet families. They were neighbors, almost like one big family, but not close enough to know what their children were doing after school. Johnny was a smart 9-year-old boy who loved playing football and telling stories. He had big, curious eyes and a tiny scar above his left eyebrow from climbing a mango tree he wasn't supposed to. His father was a banker, always in suit and tie, and his mother ran a big supermarket across town. They were both hard-working, but hardly ever home. They loved Johnny, but they believed that money and good schools were enough to raise a child. Amaka was only 7, full of life and always asking questions. Her hair was usually in 2 neat puffs, and she loved to sing loudly in the bathroom. Her mother was a fashion designer who worked from morning till night. Her father, a popular mechanic, was loved by everyone in the neighborhood. He always promised to take her out next weekend, but next weekend never came. Johnny and Amaka grew up like siblings. Every day after school, their drivers dropped them off at home. Their parents were never around to ask, "How was school?" or "What did you learn today?" So they sat under the mango tree in the compound and did it themselves. "Johnny, guess what my teacher said today?" Amaka would say excitedly. "Wait, let me tell you first. I played football today with the big boys. I even scored a goal." Johnny would interrupt. Their conversations were always full of laughter, storytelling, and shared snacks from their school bags. They didn't have phones, but Amaka had a small laptop her mother gave her for cartoons and homework. Most times, they used it to watch funny videos or learn how to draw animals from YouTube. But everything changed on one particular Monday afternoon. The sun was hot. The compound was quiet. The mango tree gave them shade as usual, and the two children sat down with biscuits and juice. Amaka looked serious. "Johnny," she said in a low voice. "Yes?" "The girls in my class were talking about something today. A game. They said their parents play it at night when no one is watching." Johnny frowned. "What kind of game?" "I don't really know," Amaka said honestly. "But they said it's sweet. It involves touching. I don't understand it, but Anita said her uncle plays it with her too." Johnny's eyes grew wide. "Touching? Like tickling or what kind of touching?" "I don't know," Amaka whispered, "but I want to know. Maybe we can teach our parents so they can finally play with us on Sundays." That moment was when innocence met curiosity. It wasn't dirty to them. It wasn't evil. It was just something they didn't understand. Johnny stood up and dusted his shorts. "Let's check your laptop," he said, determined. "Let's find the game." And that was the beginning of a very dangerous path, one that could have been avoided if someone had just sat down to talk to them. They ran into Amaka's living room, the laptop already waiting on the table like it always was. She opened it quickly, fingers tapping with excitement. "YouTube first?" Johnny asked. "Yes, maybe we'll find the game there." She typed "touching game parents play" into the search bar. Nothing useful came up, just random videos about family games, board games, and silly challenges. They tried different words: secret night game, sweet parent games, uncle game for kids. Still nothing. "This is hard," Amaka sighed. "Maybe they're lying," Johnny said, his forehead creased. "Or maybe it's a secret adults don't want kids to know." Amaka closed the laptop slowly. "I just wanted to understand it, so I can play with my parents too." They both sat quietly, confused, disappointed, and a little more curious than before. No one told them what was right or wrong, only silence and unanswered questions. Amaka couldn't stop thinking about the strange conversation she overheard between her classmates. Their whispers had planted something in her heart, curiosity. It felt like an itch she couldn't scratch. And as the days passed, her young mind began to spin with questions. At break time, she found herself sitting close to Anita, a girl known for her boldness and the kind of things she talked about that most children didn't understand. Anita, she began softly, what were you people talking about that day? Anita smiled like someone who had a big secret. You really want to know? She whispered. Amaka nodded. It's something big girls do, Anita said with pride. My uncle told me how. He says I'm special. What is it? Amaka asked, leaning closer. It's a kind of play, but not like hide and seek. It's only for people who love each other. You have to keep it secret, though. If adults find out, they'll get angry. Amaka was confused. So, is it like watching a movie together? Anita chuckled. Number, you use your body. He told me it's how people show love. It feels strange at first, but then it gets sweet. I can show you one day. Amaka didn't fully understand, but now her mind was running fast. Later that day, she went to Johnny's house. As usual, his parents were out. They were often busy, too busy to check on what the children were doing. That day, they sat on the rug in the living room, drawing stick figures and cartoons on pieces of old paper. Amaka lowered her voice. Johnny, do you know what Anita told me today? What? He asked. There's something adults do. Anita said it's like a game. You use your body. She said it's how people who love each other show it. Johnny looked puzzled. My parents hug and kiss. Maybe that's it? No, Amaka said quickly. It's more than that. She said it's a secret kind of touch. That's why grown-ups don't talk about it. Johnny went quiet. Should we check? The laptop? He finally said. They typed in confusing words they barely understood. At first, nothing made sense. But soon, the internet gave them too much information. Things their eyes weren't ready for. Pictures, videos, movements. Johnny clicked one video, and they both watched with wide, frightened eyes. Is this it? Amaka whispered. I don't know, Johnny replied. It looks weird. But neither of them could look away. Their little minds didn't understand what they were seeing. All they knew was it was supposed to be a game, and it looked like the people in the video were playing. Should we try it? Johnny asked. Maybe we'll understand it better, Amaka said softly. That day, they did something they didn't truly understand, something that would later shake the hearts of their families. They thought it was a joke, a game, but it was far from it. By Sunday, Amaka was ready to share her discovery. After church, she sat in the back seat of the car, while her mother drove and her father sat in front, scrolling through his phone. Daddy, she said casually, there's a new game I want you to try with Mummy. He turned slightly. What kind of game? It's something I learned from Anita. She said it's a game parents already know. I tried it with Johnny, but I think Mummy won't like it. It felt somehow. The car slowed down. Her father turned around fully. What did you say? The game. Anita's uncle taught her. I learned it too. It's supposed to be sweet, but enough, her mother shouted, pulling the car to the side. Silence fell. Her father's eyes darkened. You said you tried it? With who? When? Amaka's lips trembled. Johnny, we were just practicing to surprise you and Mummy. Her mother began to cry. Oh my God, oh my God. Her father looked like someone who had seen a ghost. Take us home, he said in a broken voice. Right now. As soon as they got home, Amaka's father jumped out of the car and rushed into the house without saying a word. Her mother sat still in the driver's seat, breathing hard, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. Amaka sat at the back, confused and scared. Mummy, are you angry? She asked in a small voice. Her mother turned around slowly, her eyes filled with tears. Who is Anita? She asked coldly. She's in my class, Amaka replied. And Johnny, that boy next door? Amaka nodded slowly. Her mother got out of the car, walked around, opened the back door, and gently pulled Amaka out. But there was no softness in her eyes, only pain. They entered the house. Amaka's father was pacing the living room like a lion in a cage. "We need to go to that boy's house," he said sharply. "Wait," his wife replied. "Let's hear everything first." She knelt before Amaka. "Tell me exactly what happened, from the beginning." Amaka sniffed and wiped her nose. "Anita told me about the game. She said her uncle taught her. She said it's for people who love each other. I didn't know it was wrong." "What did she say exactly?" "She said it feels sweet, and that I could try it too. So I told Johnny. We searched it on his laptop. We saw videos, and we tried." Her father slammed his hand against the wall. "Jesus!" Her mother was weeping openly now. "We have failed. My God, we've failed." Then suddenly, her father grabbed his keys. "I'm going to see Johnny's parents." "Please don't shout," his wife said. "You expect me to be calm after what I just heard?" He stormed out. Amaka's mother pulled her daughter close, hugging her tightly. "My baby, my baby. You're just a child. You didn't know." She kissed her head over and over again. Meanwhile, next door, Johnny was in his room playing with his toy car when the front door burst open. "Where is your son?" Amaka's father roared. Johnny's mother came rushing out of the kitchen. "What's going on? Call your husband. Call him now." "He's not back from work." "Then you better sit down, madam, because your boy and my daughter have done something that will make your heart stop." Johnny's mother froze. "What are you talking about?" "Ask Johnny what they've been doing when no one is watching. Ask him what they watched on your laptop." Johnny peeked out from his room, frightened. His mother turned to him, confused and trembling. "Johnny, what happened?" Johnny's lips quivered. We we were playing, like Anita said." His mother's knees gave way. She sat on the floor, holding her chest. "Dear God, your son and my daughter watched things no child should watch. Then they acted it out. In your house." Johnny's mother broke down in tears. "Oh God, what have we done? Where were you when this was happening? Always going out, always trusting the internet to raise your children." Amaka's father left the house shaking, his heart boiling with rage and fear. Back at home, Amaka was still crying in her mother's arms. "Will I go to jail?" she asked. "No, my love," her mother said softly. "But we need to help you understand some things." She wiped her daughter's tears and picked up her phone. The principal number. "Hello, Mrs. Adebayo. It's urgent. Please. We need to see you tomorrow morning. It's about our daughter." As soon as Amaka's father returned, he looked at Amaka and said, "We are going to your school tomorrow," he said, his voice low and firm. "You will tell the principal everything you just told us." Amaka looked up, scared. "Am I in trouble?" Her mother knelt beside her. "No, baby," she said with tears in her eyes. "But something is very wrong, and we must fix it before more children get hurt." The next morning, the atmosphere in the school reception was tense. Mr. and Mrs. Okafor sat on one side, with Amaka between them, holding tightly to her mother's hand. On the other side sat Johnny with his mother, who kept wiping her sweaty palms with a handkerchief. The principal, Mrs. Adebayo, sat at the center behind her desk, glasses low on her nose, her face unreadable. "This is very disturbing," she finally said after listening to both families. She looked at Amaka. "Amaka, you said you heard this from a girl in your class?" Amaka nodded. "Her name is Anita." The principal glanced at her secretary. "Call Miss Grace." Moments later, Amaka's class teacher walked in. She greeted everyone politely, but tensed up as soon as she saw the mood in the room. "Please sit." the principal said. We need to ask you about one of your pupils, Anita. Miss Grace sighed. That girl again? The parents looked at each other. What do you mean? Amaka's mother asked quickly. She's a handful, Miss Grace admitted. She talks about things no child her age should even know. I've had to caution her several times. Once, I even asked the school counselor to talk to her. Amaka's father's eyes widened. So, you knew something was wrong? Yes, sir, but there's only so much we can do if the parents are not involved. And where are her parents now? Johnny's mother asked. We'll call them immediately, the principal said. She picked up her phone and dialed. After a short conversation, she hung up. Anita's uncle is her guardian. He's on his way. Silence filled the office again. 30 minutes later, a tall man walked into the office wearing dark sunglasses. He looked smooth, too smooth. His smile was quick, his voice calm. Good morning, everyone. I'm Anita's uncle. Is there a problem? The moment Amaka saw him, her grip on her mother's hand tightened. That's him, she whispered. Who? Her mother asked, leaning closer. That's the man Anita said showed her the game. The room went quiet. The principal looked up sharply. Mr. Emmanuel Obi. Mr. Obi, the principal said slowly, we're investigating a very serious issue involving your niece and other children in this school. I see, he replied casually. Children these days, they can say anything. Sir, Johnny's mother interrupted, your niece told my son and this girl here about something adults do in secret, something they copied, something they didn't understand. Mr. Obi adjusted his sunglasses. Look, children lie. They exaggerate things. You want to blame me for what your children did? Amaka said Anita told her you showed her. Amaka's father barked. The air in the office shifted. Mr. Obi's smile faded. Excuse me? That's a serious accusation. And this is a serious situation. The principal snapped. Mr. Obi, until we get to the bottom of this, I am reporting this to the authorities. This is beyond a school matter now. He stood up angrily. You can't do that. You have no proof. We have the testimonies of 2 children, she replied. And if there's nothing to hide, you shouldn't be afraid. Mr. Obi looked around, then back at the children. Amaka stared at him with fear. Johnny didn't even want to look up. This is not over, he said sharply and stormed out of the office. The principal immediately called the school's legal department and the local child protection unit. As the sun rose higher that morning, the story was no longer just about a curious little girl and a strange game. It had become something bigger. A secret was breaking open, and a dark truth was crawling into the light. Later that day, by afternoon, 2 plain-clothed officers from the Child Protection Unit arrived at the school. They spoke with the principal, then separately with Amaka, Johnny, and finally Anita, who had been called in from her class. Anita sat with her head down, her small fingers fidgeting with the hem of her uniform. Anita, one of the officers said gently, we're not here to punish you. We just want to know the truth. Who taught you about this game? Anita hesitated. Her eyes darted to the door, as if expecting someone to walk in. My uncle said it was our secret, she whispered. What kind of secret? She leaned in slightly. He said I was his princess, that we were special. He said it's something only people who love each other do. The officers exchanged looks. Did he ever touch you when he showed you this game? Anita slowly nodded. Tears welled up in the teacher's eyes as she stood nearby, unable to believe what she was hearing. He said not to tell anybody, or bad things would happen to my mummy in heaven. The officer gently placed a hand on her shoulder. You did nothing wrong, Anita. You're very brave for telling us this. Johnny's mother sat on the edge of the bed, holding her son's school bag like it was a fragile egg. Her husband had just returned from work, and she was trying to explain what happened. She told him it was a game, that adults play it with people they love, and he believed her. He's just a child. Johnny's father stood silently for a moment, then covered his face with both hands. God, how did we miss this? We've been so busy chasing money, we left them open to things we can't take back. In the other room, Johnny sat alone, hugging his teddy bear. He didn't feel like a child anymore. Something inside him had changed, and he didn't know how to explain it. After the officers finished speaking with the children, the principal called in all the teachers for a staff meeting. This is no longer just about one child, she began. If it can happen in our school, it can happen anywhere. What do we do? One teacher asked. From tomorrow, every class will have a short daily session on safe and unsafe touches. We'll work with psychologists, and no child should ever be left alone after school again. Miss Grace raised her hand. Can we also educate parents? Many of them don't even talk to their kids. The principal nodded. Yes, we're organizing a special parent seminar this weekend. This is now a community issue. Amaka sat on her mother's lap, quiet, tired, but safe. Her father knelt in front of her. My princess, he said softly, we're sorry. We should have protected you better, but we will now, okay? She nodded slowly. Is Johnny still my friend? She asked. Her mother smiled weakly. Yes, but some things will change. Grown-ups will help you both now. No more secrets like that. Is Anita in trouble? Her father shook his head. She was hurt too, but she's going to get help, just like you. Amaka leaned her head on her mother's chest, her eyes fluttering shut. She was tired, not just physically, but deep inside, like her little heart had seen too much too soon. By the next day, the story had already reached some blogs and news stations. Headlines read, Uncle under investigation after 9-year-old girl exposes dark secret. Parents warned after children imitate adult acts from secret game. School takes action to educate pupils on body safety. The community buzzed with shock and fear, but something else started too. Awareness. Mothers began asking their children quiet questions. Fathers took time to check in on their little ones. Schools across town began organizing similar talks. Meanwhile, Mr. Emmanuel Obi was arrested 2 days later at a hotel just outside town. He had been trying to escape. When they brought him in, Anita didn't cry. She just stared at him and said quietly, You said it was love, but it was a lie. And with that, she turned her face away. Forever. 2 weeks later, the school was no longer the same. Every classroom had a colorful poster that said, Your body belongs to you. Say no to secrets that hurt. The counselor, Mrs. Bassey, now visited each class twice a week. She used dolls, picture cards, and gentle stories to teach the children the difference between safe and unsafe touches. She also taught them a song. If someone makes you feel unsure, say no, then tell. Don't hide it anymore. Some children didn't understand right away, but over time, more students began opening up. One small boy from Primary 4 told his teacher in tears that their neighbor would always call him inside when no one was home. That very day, his parents were called, and action was taken. The school had unknowingly become a place of healing and light. Johnny was seeing a therapist now. At first, he didn't like going. The office smelled like strange plants, and the doctor asked too many questions. But the more he went, the more he talked. He began to draw his feelings. One day, he showed his mother a picture. It had a storm cloud, 2 children under it, and a bright sun breaking through. This is me and Amaka, he said. We were in the storm, but now we're better. His mother hugged him, crying silently. She had taken leave from work just to be around more. Every evening they sat together. No phones, no distractions, just stories, jokes, and lots of hugs. Amaka had stopped asking too many questions, but her eyes had changed. They were quieter now, like she was watching the world differently. One evening, her mother sat beside her on the bed, brushing her hair gently. Do you want to talk about anything? She asked. Amaka looked up. Will I still go to heaven? Her mother froze. Why would you ask that, baby? Because I did something wrong. Her mother hugged her tightly. No, Amaka, you didn't do anything wrong. Someone else made you believe a lie, and that's why we're here, to protect you. You're still good. You're still loved. And heaven is clapping for how brave you are. Amaka rested her head on her mum's shoulder. That night she slept peacefully, for the first time in days. Anita was taken in by a safe home for girls who had been hurt. The house was bright. The walls were yellow and pink. There were toys, books, and kind women who smiled and didn't ask too many questions. She had her own bed, her own pillow, her own toothbrush. At first, she wouldn't talk. She just stared out the window and watched the birds. But one morning, during art class, she drew a picture of a man behind bars and a little girl flying like a butterfly. The counselor knelt beside her. Who is that? That's me, Anita whispered. I'm flying away now. He can't touch me anymore. The woman touched her shoulder gently. That's right, sweetheart. You're free now. 3 months later, the school held a special assembly. Parents were invited. There were talks, poems, and a short drama titled, Not All Games Are Safe. Johnny stood on stage and delivered a short line with his head held high. If it's a secret that scares you, tell someone. You're not bad. They are. Amaka and Anita sat together in the front row, holding hands. They had been through the fire, but they were not broken. They were rising. And for the first time in a long while, they laughed again, not out of confusion or pain, but because they were finally safe. The lesson: not all games are safe, and not all secrets should be kept. Sometimes children hear things they don't understand. They're curious. They trust their friends. But when something feels confusing or uncomfortable, that's not just curiosity. It's a signal, a warning, and also children can be brave, but adults must protect. When children speak up, it's not to shame them, it's to shield them. Amaka's honesty saved not only herself, but others too. Thanks for watching. Please do well to protect your kids.